Hi, it's Katrina here, co-founder at Colorwill, an educational startup designed for people with color vision deficiency. Today, we have an interview with artist from Chicago, Brett Whitacre.
Thank you so much for joining and for your time.
Sure thing.
Yeah, the audio, the video is not perfect. I'm not sure it's maybe connection. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a career artist. Um, Started out a musician for years, touring the world, and I was a visual artist uh, all along that time. But during that time is when I was able to transition into being a full-time visual artist also, because I had a fun job, playing drums all over the place where I would make money. And then when I would come home from tour, I wouldn't have to work. I would just paint all the time. So for the last 15, 18 years, I've been just an artist and very, very lucky to be able to make a living doing this. The technique that I specialize in is called reverse glass painting. So I'm painting on a glass surface.
On glass. Okay.
Yeah, I've never actually painted on a canvas.
That's interesting.
But the glass is the canvas, and the only thing, the major thing different is that you paint from reverse, and then you view it from the other side. So for years I was just doing that, just painting things that I like.
How you actually managed to get into market, like how you managed to sell your artworks in the first place? Because I think a lot of people struggle with this, like, okay, I got the artwork, but how do I actually sell it now?
Yeah. At first it was just, you can't be shy about it. You need to, I don't have a really big ego or anything saying like my art is the greatest, but you need to have the confidence to go into an establishment and say, hey, I have some good artwork. Can I do a display here? So another thing Chicago is really great for is street fairs, like fine art fairs.
Interesting.
And all through the spring, summer, and fall, there's like 30 really good street fairs in the neighborhoods of Chicago. Sometimes that's a very big step for artists to get to do, because every fair costs about $500.
Oh, so
just
there's a fee to join.
You need a tent, you need lots of art, and you need the entry fee. So it's very risky for a lot of artists to think like, what if I pay out $500 and don't even make my money back? So that was very scary for me, but the first fair I ever did, I made $8,000 in 2 days.
Wow, that's
And I said,
congratulations.
Thank you. And I got exposed to 30 to 50,000 people in 2 days.
But did you mention being colorblind in your story, like in your art, during that time, or you actually kept it as a secret at first?
Yeah, at first. And when it did come out, with like in a situation where I did mention that I was colorblind, people were kind of blown away.
It was a good surprise, right?
Yeah, sometimes it's a good story for people to tell. Like, look, I got this art from a colorblind artist, and it can be good. It can be a fun little marketing to help out. Just another angle to your work. And that's all it was for a long time, until I started doing custom work for people, and then they have a lot more of an opinion of what goes on in their piece if they're paying you to do a piece. Yes. So that's where I ran into more problems. And nowadays I'm doing work for Starbucks, big investment firms, bigger companies, and they can be very picky. And
Sure.
of course, I understand you have to do their company colors. And when they have very specific colors, then I just have to go by the numbers. The PMS number.
Yes, exactly. We teach these things in the course that it's not necessary to see some colors, that you can actually, use the codes that already made, and you can just basically use the softwares. So I'm actually happy you're sharing these things, because this is the whole point of making the interviews and sharing these stories with our students, because we want to say, hey, if you want to be an artist or designer, or you have any dream, don't scare about colors, don't afraid of it. There is always a way, and being colorblind is very unique angle of things. You actually have something very unique in your piece, so thank you so much for sharing this this story.
Sure. I have comments from other artists who say, when they find out that I'm colorblind, they say, that's very interesting because of the color schemes that I end up using. They say, I never would have used those colors together, but they work so well. You go by what the color wheel tells you, and the rules of the color wheel. And a lot of people stick to that pretty closely. But I'm not a school-trained artist,
Uh-huh.
so I didn't go to college for it or anything. I just started doing it. There was no laws or rules when I started, just fun. If it looked good to me, then I assumed it would look good to other people.
That's great. That's actually very brave. And as I said, this is the biggest challenge that many people have. They just scared that they cannot match colors, or they're scared, how do I start? Maybe people don't like what I do if I have like purple hair or, pink sea, it's not going to look beautiful and people will not appreciate it. But I think there's always another part of the story. There's always another part of the coin where you can see a brighter side of things. I have a few questions for you, a few more questions. And one of them would be, so what's your biggest frustration or challenge when it comes to colors or your art?
Biggest challenge that can be frustrating is, when I hear a customer talk about color and then I try to perceive what they are perceiving and I'm way off, and I'm finding more and more that everybody's perception of color is so different. Even people who are not technically colorblind,
Yes, it's true.
perception is a scale, and what one person thinks is turquoise is not turquoise to someone else.
Absolutely. Yes.
That I find very, because there's literally hundreds of thousands of colors actually. Yeah, and where did you learn the name of a color, and what do you believe in your mind is true cyan or true red? Everybody's perception, everybody's learning is different. So some people really think that they are certain about a color, but it's all a perception thing.
So what's your future plan? How far are you planning to take it?
It's really good experience.
Sure.
Having to step outside of my comfort zone to do things that I wouldn't normally paint, because it's all learning how to do it. And I'm not saying no to anything right now.
Yeah, but it's great that you challenge yourself. It's very amazing that you keep on challenging yourself and even taking up the projects that you're not comfortable with. That's very brave thing to do. It's not everyone likes the challenge.
Yeah.
Many people like to escape it. That's great. So tell me just a little bit about your childhood. Like, did you feel different in your childhood being colorblind? Did it in any way affected your life? Like, basically till your adulthood, when you decided that you like painting, did you ever doubt things like, should I be an artist? Did it ever cross your mind?
Hmm. I actually had a doctor tell me that I couldn't be an artist.
Yeah, doctor. Like it's not parents.
Yeah, when I went and got like an official colorblind test, saying like you can't be a pilot or you can't be an artist. You know, some of that makes sense, but not an artist. Come on.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
still see color. It's just not the same color, and maybe some of these colors are a little more washed out and not as vibrant. But yeah, I wasn't ever discouraged, and even by the doctor saying that, I was like, whatever. And I think I did black and white art for a long time, though, maybe because of my color perception. I did all drawing, pen and pencil drawing, all through school and high school. I mostly focused on that and didn't really get into color until my mid 20s.
Mhm. So you
And
found out at the early age, is it?
yeah, I think I was in kindergarten, you know, 5 years old, 6 years old.
Oh, wow.
But was more into sports when I was little and didn't do a whole lot of art until high school.
I see.
Yeah, but I never thought, you know, maybe I'll be a professional artist. It just happened that I started producing art one year when I was living in Chicago, and then I had my first art show. I said, "Hey, I'll book an art show at a music venue," because I knew how to book my band. So I had my band play, and then upstairs I set up an art display.
Oh, wow.
And
That's
my
great.
my first art show, I sold over half of my pieces.
Wow, maybe music and art works best together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I was like, well, I'm going to do more of this. If I can make money doing this, then I'll do that.
Yes. Sounds great. So what would be your advice for, colorblind people, are they young or old, those that are dreaming to be an artist? What would be your advice?
I would say embrace it. Embrace your different way of seeing, and go do what I did. Go with what looks good to you, and don't be afraid to do it. Because you have a unique perspective on color, and I don't think other people will see it as not looking right. You know, I think it can be a more interesting addition of color. You know, the main thing is just don't be afraid. Just go forward. You know,
That's right. Yes. I totally agree.
Don't see it as a hindrance. Maybe see it as an asset.
Yeah, that's right. I totally agree with you. Exactly. I believe that it's a great asset to have because it's something unique,
Yeah.
everyone have a different vision on things. What is your colorblindness type? I didn't ask you in the beginning.
I forget what the technical term is, but it's the one that deals mostly with red and green.
Red and green.
And that can affect a lot of colors because there's green and red in a lot of colors.
Yeah.
I've always had problems with blue and purple because maybe I don't see the red properly in the purple, so I can't tell blue and purple. You know, I use a digital program, Procreate, and it has the circle color dial, and the blue and purple section looks all the same. I know where the blue is to be and where the purple is supposed to be, and that's what I can go from. And then the yellow and green section, it's all the same.
Yeah, I think yes.
So, but yeah, red and green mostly.
Yeah. My husband is also colorblind, and he's also a red-green colorblind. So
Yeah.
I experienced it when he was buying some purple t-shirt. He's like, "Look, I have my favorite blue t-shirt. Like it's purple. It's not blue."
I did that too. I did that a lot too. I had a purple shirt for a long time that I thought was blue.
Oh. How is the clothes matching for you? How do you just prefer to go with the black and white, or you actually try sometimes wearing something colorful?
I wear black all the time. unless I have to go to a wedding or something. But I don't care. Like I don't match colors, but my wife will try to tell me like that doesn't work. You know.
Yes, and thank you so much again for your time and sharing your story.
Sure thing. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out.
No worries. I'm sure it's gonna be a great help for so many people, you know, especially people that are scared to go into art. So
Yep. Well, thank you. I gotta get to work now, I guess.
yeah. Thank you so much, Brett, and we'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye bye.